Hi, everyone. We are the Veteran Bridge team. We're focusing on social justice within our communities. We have Jacob Derzon, me, Manpreet Kaur, and Vaibhav Corona, and Nicholas Kopernik. First, we have Nick talking about the rating system we want to implement. Thank you.
Thank you, Preeti. The first component of our approach to tackling systemic racism within the workplace and within the community would be to implement a 5-star rating program. This program is designed to provide positive encouragement and incentive to companies to begin making real change. A third party, nonprofit organization would be built of experts within the diversity and inclusion space to develop detailed criteria for each rating as well as rate businesses once per year. Factors considered for a company's rating would include the organization's employee mix compared to the city's population demographics, their diversity and inclusion programming, as well as any external advocacy which they may implement. Companies which score well would be eligible for several incentives and rewards. I'm now going to pass it on to Jacob to discuss blind hiring. Jacob?
Thanks, Nick. Discrimination in the hiring process remains a large impediment to addressing inequality. Studies have shown that even with all other factors being equal, white males have an advantage in the hiring process over non-white minorities and women, leading to underrepresentation of these groups in professionalized businesses. While some of this may be consciously done, even in companies where diversity and inclusion are sought, unconscious biases still occur. If companies want to hire truly based on merit, they should consider blind hiring. Blind hiring is a process by which identifying information, such as names, are removed from the application process. This can also be extended to include software to mask an applicant's appearance and voice. Combined with psychometric and skills-based testing and standardized interviews that avoid identification based on cultural background, companies can hire based on objectivity rather than personal preference. This process has been shown to create companies more reflective demographically of applicant pools, as well as reduce costs to reduce turnover by finding better fitting applicants based on skill and company values. My colleague Preeti will now talk about the internal hiring processes.
Thanks, Jacob. So, what I'm focusing on is internal hiring. That could be a promotion or moving to a different part of the company. For this to be successful, what we need is the job posting to be public where everyone can view it from the company. Next, the candidate would send in their resume and a list of achievements within the company. For that to be successful, there'd either need to be a third party recruiting team or the HR department would have to be in a different building from the rest of the employees. If the candidate makes it to the second round interviewing, they'd be on the phone with a voice disguiser for any necessary questions that the recruiting team would have. Lastly, whatever the outcome is for that individual, they would receive feedback so they knew what they could work on going forward. This would help ensure a fair playing field for all the employees that are interested in the job. Next, I have V with what's going on with the community. Thanks.
Thanks, Preeti. So far, we've heard how a rating system, a blind hiring system, or a blind promotion would help. But how do we compel businesses to follow these suggestions? The answer is in ensuring that Pittsburgh population gets to know about the existence of such a rating system. And to do so, we plan to conduct community events such as annual gala night, block parties, open mic nights across Pittsburgh under the name Project New Narrative. We will use both social media and these events to raise awareness about businesses having high ratings. We will also give the businesses which have high ratings discounted rates for becoming title sponsors to these events. Our idea is to create a society that moves away from shackles of systemic racism towards a racially just society. And thus, the funds that we would raise from these events and promotions, we will deploy those back into the community to boost the upskilling efforts. Thank you.
The final piece to our proposal would be to work on developing educational reform to ensure that everyone is given an equal and equitable opportunity to a proper education. Our team recommends the reallocation of public funding towards school systems to ensure that teachers have the resources they need to provide an effective education to their students. Furthermore, educational institutions should be considered a safe space where students are encouraged to learn rather than be policed. School systems should be altered to take our nation's history of redlining out of the equation and provide equitable funding to all public school systems across the board. Finally, as students begin to turn their attention to college and higher education, institutions should implement blind acceptance programs just as Jacob recommended companies implement blind hiring. Our team has put together these 5 pillars which we believe will help develop a more inclusive and just future for our society. By implementing a rating program, blind hiring, blind promotion, Project New Narrative, and educational reform, these tools will radically change the way that racism is dealt with in our society. Thank you for your time.